Hey, what is up, everyone? It's the Crypto Coach, Blockchain Wayne, another round the block. I think this is number 13. Pretty sure that's what I put in the comments. Just to talk every Thursday, figured I'd come here live for about 15 to 20 minutes, talk about cryptocurrency, talk about blockchain, and talk about just kind of what's going on and answer any questions anybody may have. Most of the questions I get are usually after the broadcast. So feel free, even if, and I can't see all the comments coming in from everywhere because I'm streaming to multiple places. But if you've got questions, answer, type them in the comments or send me a message. If I don't answer it while I'm live, I will go back and answer it in the comments or reach out, one on one if you want to talk about that. So feel free to send comments, ask questions. But today, something's been weighing on my mind really because people always ask me, should I buy Bitcoin? Should I buy this? Should I buy that? And it's really about timing in any market, right? There's always a good time to buy and a bad time to buy. I know people that have lost money on Bitcoin because they bought when it was high, and when the price went down, they thought it was going to keep going down and they panic sold it and they lost money. And I know a lot of people that bought and it's going up and they've made money. And that's the same for anything, whether you're investing in traditional assets, stocks, real estate, whether you're investing in cryptocurrency or anything else. So it's really important to understand what's your investment strategy, because that also determines how much time you really need to put into it. And what I mean is, if you're looking for long term, right? If you're looking for long term investments, and maybe you don't want to learn the ins and outs of trading, then it may be best to accumulate over time. Now that only works if the asset has long term viability. Which what I mean by that? So in essence, Bitcoin may be at say at a current price today, but the market's kind of unstable right now, so it could drop lower before it hits new highs. And so you got to be prepared that if you're going to put money in, it may go down further. And most people, instead of panic selling, your idea should be to buy more as it dips, because you don't really know what the bottom of that dip is going to be. But that's a very iffy strategy. And anytime you're doing that, you want to make sure you continue to educate yourself on markets, because if that market never recovers, then it never goes back up. So you've got to have education and belief in what you're doing in, and also keep up with what's going on with that project. There's thousands of cryptocurrencies right now. Anybody can create one. The ones that are going to have long-term viability, use case, and in essence value from an investment standpoint are going to be the ones that innovate and develop and do things in the space, but also lend more towards that decentralization aspect. There's some projects in the space that are heavily centralized, and decentralization, it's a journey. It's not just Bitcoin. When Bitcoin first started, it was not decentralized, right? It was Satoshi, the creator of Bitcoin, began mining, got a few other developers to start mining. It was still very centralized for the most part. But as the network grew, now you have a decentralized network. There's a journey in decentralization, in essence of the disbursement of, say, the coins or tokens, and also the control or the input into the network and what builds the network. And that's where it's important to understand those aspects. So in essence, what you need to determine first and foremost, are you going to be investing for the long term? Are you looking to make quick gains to pull out money? Or are you looking to trade? Now, obviously, trading is your best bet, but if you get into trading without education as well, you could get wrecked. And I say that's a term that's used loosely in a lot of different markets now. REKT, probably going to be it's probably going to be added to the dictionary before we know it, if it's not already. But what that means is you jump into anything without any kind of understanding of how market cycles work, and also what your investment strategy is. People will say, I'm just going to buy it and forget about it for years, but then they check the price every hour to see what it's at. And all that's going to lead to is a bunch of anxiety, because when the price goes up, you're going to be wishing you bought more. You're also going to be maybe wondering, should I take profit? But you want it to keep going up. You don't want to sell it and then have it continue to go up. So people may hold, and then the market never goes straight up or down. Even in a general curve, if you look at the long-term history of Bitcoin, it's an upward trend. It's becoming more and more scarce. There's more and more demand for it. So you're going to see overall the price go up. But when you zoom in, there's a lot of volatility, a lot of ups and downs. And I use Bitcoin as an example, but that's for any project that you're looking at in the cryptocurrency space, because there will be ones used for different aspects, right? There's going to be different cryptocurrencies, but there's not going to be thousands. There's always going to be thousands. There's going to be tens of thousands. At one point, there may even be hundreds of thousands of different cryptocurrencies. But what's going to happen is you're going to have certain ones that are going to be maybe adapted or are going to get more traction or utilized for different aspects of use. And that's what's going to drive value, right? When you create scarcity in anything, that's what creates value. Why do diamonds appear to have such a great value? Because they're viewed as scarce, right? They're hard to get, they're hard to mine. Same thing with gold, right? That's why gold has value. It's been used over time, but we live in a digital world, so you need a digital economy. So you create a digital scarcity with a peer-to-peer system that also solves the issue where in some countries where people are oppressed or their money's been manipulated so much that it's worthless, they now have the option to not participate in that broken economy. Because if you live there, participating was your only option before Bitcoin was created. Now you have more options. That's where the value comes in. That's where the use case comes in. But you also have to look at digital scarcity. Like if there's 100 billion or a trillion of one coin or token, then it's not going to have as much individual value per coin or token as some of the other ones, which is why we see such disparity in the space. So one, figure out what your strategy is. Now, I tell you, when I first got into this, I didn't really understand trading, didn't know a lot about trading. So for me, I wanted to learn, but it was something that I kind of dipped my toe in and accumulated over time. So I'd buy a little bit, I'd buy a little bit more. And that was my strategy, but I knew that was my investment strategy. But at the same time, I was checking the price every day. Sometimes multiple times throughout the day, I was opening up an app, hitting refresh, and that can drive you nuts. So make sure your strategy matches your mindset, right? If you're fine with just packing it away and waiting a few years and wanting to come back, that's obviously something you can do. But make sure what your actions and your mindset matches that strategy, because if not, it's just going to drive you crazy. When the price is going down, you're going to wish you would have sold. When the price is going up, you're going to wish you would have bought more, or wish you wouldn't have sold, depending on what you did. So that's why it's important. But learning how to trade market cycles, when you look back in history, most of what we do in life, there's patterns. And sometimes past patterns can point at what may happen in the future. And that's why it's important to understand trading, understand how to identify those trades, and also understand risk, because when you get into trades, you want to learn how to mitigate your risk. So it's important to figure out what is your trading strategy if you're going to trade. Are you going to trade every day? Are you going to look at charts for a few hours a day? Are you going to make multiple trades? Or are you going to do more of just swing trades whenever you see you learn how to identify support and resistance? I know a few guys that's all they do. They learn how to identify support and resistance on a chart, because a lot of assets, as you're trading them, they'll bounce in between support and resistance a lot before breaking through, whether it's breaking up or breaking down. So that's where the money is made in those. They'll buy when it's hitting resistance at the top and sell when it's hit support at the bottom, and continue to go back and forth to accumulate. If that's your trading style, you may not trade every day. You may trade a few times a month even. So if that's your strategy, then make sure you stick with it and your actions match that. Day trading, you're looking at more granular time frames. You're trying to look zoomed in to try to see what's going to happen. And on those swing trades, you're just looking at a zoomed out picture. And then some people just look at the general trend. Like when the overall trend is going up, they're gonna trade it. So you may only trade once every month, once every few months, depending on what's going on in the crypto space. And any times it breaks below a certain resistance point or a certain trend line, then people will either what we call short, where you're betting for it to go down, or you'll sell an asset with the intent to buy it back at a lower price. So those are the things. Now there's tools available out there, right? Most people don't have the ability to be able to sit there and look at charts and look at everything. So we've got, I share about this every time I do this live. We do Blockchain Training Academy. It is a comprehensive place where you can go and learn, take different modules and videos and learn about cryptocurrency. So Blockchain Training Academy is one thing that we have created. And then I've also partnered up, if you notice the logo, actually it's here when you look at it on the screen. Newscrypto.io is a trading platform that also has some educational content. I help them create some of their educational content, but the biggest thing they offer is tools and the ability to learn how to trade and utilize different tools to help you, whether it's predefined charts, whether it's looking at different trends, different aspects of trading, and even a community prediction section. They allow you to learn more about the trading side of it. So that's kind of where, look, you don't have to. I talk about these every week. It's not really to make a pitch to say, hey, go buy this. If that's not something you're interested in, then don't worry about it. But if you want to learn more about cryptocurrency and blockchain, the Blockchain Training Academy is the best place to go. If you want to learn more about trading, News Crypto is the best place to start there as well, because they have tools designed to help you make better decisions. Because all about trade, it's about making better decisions, learning from past mistakes, learning how to identify trends, and also how to mitigate your risk. And you also have to, like anything, it takes practice, right? You can't just go out, grab a basketball tomorrow and start shooting and thinking you're going to be able to be a great basketball player. It takes practice. It takes a lot of effort. When you see people, that are professionals that are making a living playing basketball or really playing anything professionally, doing anything professionally, not just sports. I mean, hell, it could be poker. That's a skill that's built over time. And it's the same thing with trading. If you want to start out small, you want to start out with small trades, paper trading, testing your strategies and learning what will work and what not to work, and also where to get your information from. Because the worst thing you can do is just look at a glimpse on a chart and say, okay, this looks like a good entry point, and I jump into a trade and then it goes down. And I realize I could have had a better entry point, or maybe I should have sat out than taking that trade. So that's some of the biggest things I see is people want to get in, and it's happening a lot now, not just in crypto, but even in the stock market, especially with the ease of investing. I see people all the time, people at work always asking me, they're constantly just throwing money in Robinhood, and just it's almost like a digital slot machine, because you're just buying something and hoping that it'll go up. And sometimes the worst thing that can happen is you're right, because then you think you made that you can do this over and over again when there's really no strategy to it. So understand your strategies. Always become a student of what you're doing. If you're investing in the stock market, study the stock market. If you want to invest in cryptocurrency and blockchain, then be a student, at least learn some of the basics. We live in information. We're overloaded with information. You just got to find good places to get it, so the information we have in Blockchain Training Academy, yeah, you can find it anywhere, but we put it all together for you. The information on News Crypto, again, you could probably find that, through different sites all over the internet, but it's all in one place. It's all centralized, and it just shows you how to do that. So if you're interested in those, I'll share the links. I always share them once I'm done with the live video. I'll put them in the comments where you can, Blockchain Training Academy, we run a special all the time. It's $14 a month, $140 a year, or $400 lifetime. There's really not many platforms out there for, when we were looking at pricing, most platforms are $30+ a month. And the only reason we do that, that cost really just helps pay for the site and keep a lot of the expenses down, because there's ongoing expenses with a lot of the editing software, the website, the hosting platform. So we've got those. And then News Crypto has a free section where you can go through a lot of the educational stuff for free. And then they have additional tools as you start to learn how to trade that you can pay for in that platform. And in some cases, you can get it for free by buying some of the NWC coins. And then you stake it on their platform for a certain amount of time, which gives you access. And say you stake them for 6 or 12 months. When you when you pull them off of there, you're earning a percentage for staking them on the platform. But then when you pull them off of there, you get that same money back, plus whatever they may have gone up in value and additional percentage you've earned. So it's, in essence, it still can be a free platform. But those are two tools that I like. But also learn how to find legitimate resources and news sites. If you're interested in learning more about cryptocurrency and blockchain, keep up with what's going on Cointelegraph's website and CoinDesk. Those are two news resources that tell you what's going on. And then the price, the places to go to learn more about projects, either CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko.com. Those are great places to go. If you want to learn more about a cryptocurrency, you can click on it and it'll link you to a bunch of news articles about it. It'll link you to their development page and just learn more about them, because right now, some of the projects that are getting a lot of attention are mainly off of hype. But in the long term, especially if you're investing for the long term, it's really about which projects are going to create the most substantial products. Money has not evolved much over time. So Bitcoin was a huge creation in 2009. And it's really led to what we have today, which led to new technologies being created that we didn't think were possible until Bitcoin was created, because Bitcoin solved the problem of digital currency, the double spend issue, and be able to create a true digital peer-to-peer cash system to where I can pay you without any having to rely on any third party like PayPal or Visa or your bank or MasterCard to verify the transaction, approve the transaction, or in some cases, block the transaction, right? So, and I've said this before, even if you think, okay, well, I don't really care about that because everything I do is legal, well, and moral. But at the same time, what happens when those that are in power to make the decision of whether or not they allow your transaction, block your transaction, or can freeze your funds in the bank? What happens when the people in power are the ones that have the moral issues and are corrupted? Then you have a problem. And that's what cryptocurrency, it takes away that ability for anybody to control somebody else. So instead of being a system of control, manipulation, and surveillance, it can become a system of freedom, a system that gives people that may not have had access to any financial networks or institutions prior have access. You know, those could be people that are in the US and for one reason or another can't open a bank account, can't do certain things, or it could be you're in a country where maybe you have banks that are 5, 6, 700 miles away as your closest branch, but now cryptocurrency gives you the ability to transact in your hand, you know, with the phone that's in your hand. And then on top of that, you also have places like you know, a lot of third world countries that either they have no infrastructure, so those are going to probably be the easiest to implement because a lot of them have basic cell phone towers now, or places like Venezuela, Argentina, Zimbabwe, where their system has already collapsed. Their monetary system of the government has collapsed. So now they have an option to say you don't have to starve, you don't have to not be able to provide for your family because you have access to these tools in the digital world. And that's really why it's important. So that's why I do this every Thursday. It's important to understand education is crucial in whatever you want to do. You want to invest more in the stock market, learn more about it. You want to invest in cryptocurrency, learn more about it. You want to be a trader, learn more about it. And that each one of those is also going to be practice because you've got to practice. You know, I made some bad trades and bad decisions when I first started investing and trading cryptocurrency. But I learned from those, and you learn from your mistakes, and you learn how to make better decisions. And that's what it's about. Nothing in life can happen. You can't do anything great without risk. There's always going to be risk, but learning how to mitigate that risk, control that risk, determine when you're going to take more risk and less risk is something you've got to learn and evolve over time. And then you can make better decisions, take less risk. Education helps to lessen that risk, or also help you make sure you're making a better decision when it comes to that. Because in a lot of times, people will talk about losing and making money within the same markets with the same assets, but it's a lot of it's centered around timing and education. Did you get in at the right time? Did you get out at the right time? And did you understand the market? Did you study and learn how to identify how markets evolve and adapt and things like that? So that's why it's important. You know, I hear people all the time say, "Oh, yeah, that's a bad investment. I lost money." And a lot of times, was it a bad investment, or did you just get in at a bad time? People that bought Apple stock recently were not happy in the fact that the price started dropping, quite a bit. But is that a bad investment from a stock standpoint? No, it just depends on when you bought, when you got in, timing. Just remember, every market cycle. For someone to sell at the top of a market cycle, someone else has to buy. And so we need people to buy at the top, but you don't want that to be you, right? Because the smart traders, the smart investors are selling somewhere towards the top and they're buying back down as the price goes down because if they're expecting a rebound, they expect the price to continue to drop, then they're going to get out of that asset, whether that's stock or cryptocurrency or foreign exchange currency, whatever the case may be. That's what's going to happen. So there's a lot of tools available. I'm constantly studying those tools just to learn, but also become a student of the market. When you think about before the days of the internet, the old stock market, people that were trading in the stock market, they would get that Wall Street Journal paper every time it was available and just study what was in there, what was happening, looking at news articles about what different companies were doing. It's no different in cryptocurrency except for the fact that it's not stock you're buying. It's a digital currency that could have future use case, and you're betting on the fact that it's going to have more purchasing power in the future than it has today. And that's the aspect of it, but education is key. So with that, hey, I'm going to end it. Thanks for y'all to watch. And I see a lot of people are hopping on. Like I said before, I can't really see comments coming in from every place. So if you posted a comment, I'm gonna come back and hit you up. If you got any questions, post them in the comments. If you're watching this recording, just drop some questions in there if you got any questions, and I'll come back to it and answer those questions as I get alerted with different messages. So everyone have a great rest of your Thursday, and I'll see y'all next week.